Hey, welcome to Between the Ears Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Curtis Pelche, mental performance coach. Here we're bringing on coaches, players, scouts, baseball people to talk baseball. Their views and experience in recruiting, player development, and mental performance. If you're playing pro ball, college, high school, or just a parent trying to manage the matrix of travel ball, this podcast is for you. Here we go. Cool. There you go. Matt O'Neill, everybody.
Hello.
Trophy Dad.
Trophy Dad. Extraordinary.
Tell me about Trophy Dad. Where did that come from?
Oh, it was just a spoof series, Used to make a couple videos making fun of, kind of being a husband and stuff, Me going around the house, doing laundry, vacuuming, that sort of stuff. And, one video I remember is the excessive amount of hooded sweatshirts that my wife collects, you know what I mean? So it's one of those, nobody needs this many hooded sweatshirt type of videos,
I may challenge her with hoodies, with all the teams I've played on. I always said I'm probably like your kid. I need gear like I need a hole in my head.
That's right.
Right.
He's getting ready to shift into the second bag, man. He's going to have to be carrying two pretty soon. I don't know.
Has he got one with wheels on it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like one of the body bag type you could put like, small human in and drag him around. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we just when we flew back from Omaha, a week and a half ago, he had to take one shoe out because it was too heavy. Because he had bought a new bat, like some limited special edition. He's got to hit with BB cord next year at middle school, so that extra 29 ounces put him a few over. So he had to take a shoe out. So it was at 50 pounds anyway.
I was telling him because he's playing the drop 3. I was telling him when I was in college, we were drop 5 when I was in college.
Yeah, he's a drop 5 now, but they've I guess the humans are getting so large so early now that exit videos and everything they're trying to make it a little bit safer.
I think it's a safety deal.
But in some counties, 6th graders can play middle school. So it'd be interesting trying to watch 6th graders swing with drop 3s, But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look back. Like I said, my freshman year, they made the switch in college. So we were swinging -5s, and then we were complaining about -3s. So, I was like, man, this is heavy. Meanwhile, I'm, 225 pounds. Kids aren't going to like it. So I've had you on I wanted to bring you on the podcast as a parent, as somebody, I designed this podcast kind of to talk to people, to answer questions, to have conversations with people and for people, to provide information, to provide clarity, to provide just everything we can to help other people kind of get through the maze that you're in right now, that you're starting, I would say.
Oh yeah.
And this is why I thought it was, again, like I said, I told you, man, I'm like, this is why I started this podcast was for these conversations, and to have you on is really cool, because you and I, we chat all the time about this stuff. And I can't imagine how many parents are going through this right now and going through it blind, just going, it's like you're on the other side of the world asking for directions. Hey, where's so-and-so? You turn left up here. It's like, you don't know. It could be. Might not be. So you got to, I'll ask you this. I'm just going to ask you this to start. I'm going to try not to make this like a panel, like a questionnaire thing. Like I like having conversations, but I do have some questions for you. How do you guys how did you guys start this process? Like where are you at in the process with Sam, in a sense of, okay, this is fun, now it's serious. How are you guys feeling right now about it?
Yeah, so he's played a bunch this spring, more than he's ever played in the spring. So Jenny, my wife, and I, we're ready to kind of shut things down and let him kind of heal and forget about baseball for a week, and then we'll kind of get back into training. But yeah, I think it really started with some outside folks, kind of giving us indication that he had potential, and it's like, okay, maybe he's got potential. And then we are fortunate, from a finance standpoint, so we're able to kind of surround him with. I never played baseball growing up. I played soccer and other sports and things, so I know nothing about the baseball world. And so, we start with, at a local facility with a more local travel ball team, and you just kind of figuring things out as you go out, as you go on. And then, of course, social media's got their opinions, and you see what other folks are doing, and then you hear big, travel ball organizations, and maybe that's the way, and things of that nature. So it was kind of interesting when I think you made contact first, as far as reaching out, on the backside on the DMs, on Sam's account and everything. And once I read your website, I was like, yeah, this is, Curtis checks a lot of boxes, from similar position to playing high level to, to, and it's really kind of the mindset, as far as the between the ears stuff that we're after with Sam, because he'll physically he'll develop at some point in time, and he's fairly advanced for his age, I would say, like with certain positions. And so it was the really the mental piece. I don't know, it was Yogi Berra, whoever said, baseball is 90% mental and the other 50% is physical. And then he's hitting he's kind of a preteen type of kid, and you're starting to see this huge jump in some kids' physicality, and he hasn't quite got there yet, and he's trying to kind of keep up. And so how do you deal with not only the emotions of a 12-year-old getting ready to turn 13, and then, you got, you step up to the plate and you got a, 5'10", 6-foot kid chucking a ball at you. Some of these kids are touching 80 miles an hour already, so that intimidations and all the preparation that goes around it. So this was like, after reading the website and the bio, it was like a here, take my money sort of thing. You know what I mean? Just because.
I remember it wasn't even, it's funny when I messaged you guys, it was just like, it was so genuine because I saw this account. I think you guys came, like the algorithm came into my feed a couple times, and I kept seeing this Sam kid in my feed, and I'm like, man, this kid can frame. This kid's, his training's real good. Everything's going good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I was just trying to adjust the lights changing in my basement here, but that's fine.
And I remember the reason I messaged you guys was I started reading the comments, and there was just hate. There was oh, you shouldn't be doing this at this age. Da 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 da. So right away I was like, I gotta say something here because this is awesome. Like, this is the same kid I was. He looks like, I can tell he loves it. I can tell he's good, and I can tell like this is something he's really into and the family's into. Like, why do people hate on this? People just posting comments are just they're just losers. I just can't even stand it.
Unfortunately, on the social media side, like, I know people whose businesses are purely built on hate. You know what I mean? And so on the social media side, like, comments are action. You know what I mean? They spin things up, they get them in the algorithms and things. So it's just like, how much are you willing to tolerate? But yeah, there's some interesting. There's a lot of different angles of social media. There's definitely some interesting cats out there. Lots of professionals, lots of umpires, lots of this and that. You know what I mean? So, but no,
you do a pretty good job of like, Sam doesn't really. You run. Yeah. What's the account called?
Oh, it's I'm pretty sure I don't even look at it, but it should be the _Samo project.
I'll put it. I'll put it all in the show notes. But and what was the reason for starting it?
To be honest with you, like he was still really like thinking about, catching at a high level, and I mean, he still does, but it was, trying to uh, kind of produce an athlete that had thrown from home plate to second, faster than anybody else had kind of been clocked. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's possible, like the number picked was, 90 miles an hour, and then, then you're informed about all the pros. Even JT Realmuto is only like clocked to 87, 88, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so what? You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't make it, like it didn't, like all the training, as long as the kid doesn't hate the game, end up hating the game, you know?
Ignorance is bliss, Matt.
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, man, all
When
the
it
training's
comes
not
to
going to hurt him. It's worst comes to worst, he develops a work ethic for later in life. That's kind of where we're at.
well, I think, and that's something that that I love more than anything is you spoke earlier, and we spoke this weekend. He was in Atlanta in a tournament and talking about the size of some of these kids. How big they are, and that was me. That was me, dude. Like when I was 12, I was like 6 feet. I had size 12 feet, and I could absolutely mash. Like it was just easy, and all through high school, all through everything, I didn't really have to work over. Yeah, I didn't have to work too hard. I could just roll up. I'd be in the 3-hole and I'd hit. That's it. But that's what I said the other day. I'm like, hey, or asked, have you listened to the Chase episode? Because Chase and I were roommates in college, and Chase is a skinny little dude. So Chase had to work his butt off, and Chase had always had to work his butt off. And I don't know if you remember. You remember Josh Beckett?
No, sir.
No. Anyway, there's just some arms back in the day that Chase used to play against in Houston, and Beckett was an all-star in the big leagues, and he was playing against them when he was a skinny little kid. Yeah, but he had to have that work ethic. He had to have that work ethic to keep up, to make these teams, to produce. So those were his habits, and I mean, that's one of the first things I saw out of Sam on that social media page, which I love, by the way, because it's kind of like an online resume. It's you're seeing what a kid can do.
Yeah, for all the haters out there that think that I'm just trying to live vicariously through my son. Number one, I never played baseball. Number two, it really started as a video diary. I mean, like you just kind of go back and you watch his growth. It was kind of internal, and then for whatever reason, things kind of spun up, and I think around last Christmas, he was only at 1,000 followers, and now he's pushing 28,000. What I mean? So
Yeah.
a couple of videos really hit hard, and then things spin up, and yeah. So anyway, there we are. But
So when prior to us meeting, obviously you guys, he's got. I mean, I think the thing that impressed me most was his ability to receive. Where'd that come from? You don't have a baseball background. Obviously, he's seeing some professionals on the side. But I know, I can tell you right now, like I've worked with catchers my whole life. It's not that easy. It's not as easy as Sam makes it look.
yeah,
He makes it look real easy with the keyhole glove, with the mini glove, with his glove, a little bit of velo, and he just does it. And like I get to talk to Sam every day, and he's just like, do. Yep, okay, yep, it's good. I like to do it, and it's just like amazingly good. Was he just dialed in? Like, could he just figure it out, or did it take a little bit of time? Like, when did he start?
So when he started playing baseball, he's always been about the action. So like he could play soccer, he could play whatever. He's gonna be like a defensive dude. Like so
He's a
when he plays soccer,
big archery guy too, right?
yeah, he has been in the past. The program's kind of coming to an end, and things might have to get trimmed just to make space for other training. Just kind of depends. But when he started playing baseball, he pointed himself catcher. Because he wanted the gear, he wanted all the action and stuff. So okay, dude, like you're gonna go take lessons. And so he started. Fortunate, we had some folks in the area. Actually, a fellow that currently pitches for the Washington Nationals, Hunter Harvey. He's a local guy. He's a closer for them. And the Harveys had a baseball facility not too far away. And one of Hunter's really close friends, Alex, I think he caught at UNC Pembroke. So Anyway,
So
Alex
where?
was just
Sorry, I'm just gonna so everybody knows where in North Carolina you guys.
we'll just say the Hickory area.
Okay,
Yeah, we're in
yeah,
a
that's right.
suburb kind of Hickory
Yeah.
area, so that's about 45 minutes northwest of Charlotte. So
Okay.
and so Sam appointed himself catcher. Alex had already been like his t-ball coach, and so we contacted him, and Sam started taking lessons. So and Alex is a very kind of base and position oriented person. Kind of working on stability and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sam's just really super fortunate to about the same time somebody that Jenny went to high school with and his brother started a facility 15 minutes away. Well, Grant was a catcher at Elon University, so Sam's been almost every single week. Wednesday nights is the big training night over there. He's taken a group catching class, and then we've done some other worked with some other folks. Another fellow named Willie Gordon. Willie played in college and things of that nature. So just to kind of work on some polishing and things that you might not get in a group setting, because
Yeah.
they're having to work with 6 to 8 people at a time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
get some more reps, and so it's just been it was an interest of his early, and then it was putting him in front of other folks, and then we just kind of made it a routine. You know what I mean, and things of that nature. So
Well, and it's cool because he loves it. It's not you're not forcing it. I talked
yeah,
to him the other day, and we were talking about getting his work in, and I was like, "Oh, cool. You got your catching work in. Your dad's home." He's like, "No, my aunt put was feeding balls in the machine." I'm like, "Okay,
yeah, there it is,
amazing.
right there
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
in the basement. We shoot it through the door to the basement garage.
Oh, it
So
goes right through the door.
yeah, we shoot it through the doorway. Just turn on all the lights, and it goes through the doorway. He sits in the corner, so it gives him 30 couple feet. So
That's cool. What is that? Is that Hack Attack?
yeah, that's the junior.
Yeah,
So
that's the
on
machine. That's the
42
machine you
inch.
want.
Yeah,
I used to have 4 of those when
yeah,
I was running my programs. I use them for outfield, infield, catching, hitting,
mhm.
everything.
Yeah. And I don't know if he's mentioned, but we live on some acreage, and
Mm-hmm.
we tore down an old barn. We've built a new barn, and it's in process, but one side of it is going to be a hitting cage. So
Sweet.
I don't think I've ever told you that, but so
Yeah, I think you
the
mentioned.
Samo
I think
project is expanding because we're crazy like that. So
when's the merch coming out, dude? When's the merch coming out? Oh,
I don't know. I haven't got there yet, dude.
joking. Well, and from what I see too with Sam is, I don't. Does he ask about it? Does he ask about the social media? Does he care?
No, like there's like there are days where he's like, "Hey, what's the worst thing somebody said today?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell him, you know what I mean, sort of thing, So, but other than
Mm-hmm.
that, like, nah, he doesn't. He could care less, you know what I mean. So, um,
So with Sam, he's funny because the habits are so good. But as we talk about, the simple habits are the tough ones. The drinking the water, the eating, the little things that kids kids just do. They'll go without water for 4 days if they're not told to drink water. Yet they'll take 600 swings, and that's the cool stuff. That's the stuff I'm really enjoying working on right now. Is as he's in the middle of a lot of baseball right now. Him understanding the importance of it, and so you guys were just in Omaha, and then he
yep.
was in Atlanta.
Instead of Cooperstown, the team elected to play the Slutbuster tournament out there at the same time as that first week of the College World Series. And then he came
Yeah.
home, and he was home for 2 days, and we had been approached by another team for him to go to the PG World Series down in
Hmm.
Atlanta. So, primary coach said, "Sure, go for it," And so that was another 4 or 5 day process. So they lost early in bracket play, and so they got home yesterday, and then he spun around and went back to his regular team practice in Charlotte last night.
Yeah.
So
And who's he play for currently?
he's with a Canes team out of Charlotte,
Okay. Yeah.
so Mooresville, Lake Norman area.
Okay.
So Canes, Carolina.
So it's an interesting one. The guest play. You know, it wasn't around when I was a kid. You know, we just played on one team and we played, you know, little league, and then we had a tournament and try to get to Williamsport. You know, that I'm old. But now there's tournaments everywhere. There seems to be money to be made everywhere. There's development everywhere. There's hype everywhere. You're getting to a place now where, shoot, man, I gotta start saying no to some of this stuff. I think this is just coming up. This is just that feeling now. You know, obviously it's
Well,
something we've kind of talked about was, you know, it's easy to say yes when it's 6 months away, and then when you're in the middle of it, you're like,
yeah,
whoa, what are we doing here?
I think so. Historically, Sam's been mainly a catcher and used other
Mhm.
places on the field. But when we started playing with the Canes, the philosophy is everybody's a pitcher until you're told that they're not.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Sam, with with the exception of somebody coming to the house a couple of times, he's never had an actual lesson in a facility. He's just
Hmm.
one of those kids that figured out pitching like a recess at school and how to
Hmm.
spin a curveball and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
um, but he ends up usually being a Saturday pitcher for the Canes, and then he Sunday catcher, right? And then, but then you get tournament after tournament after tournament, and you look at how many innings, and then it's like, oh crap, what this is bad because I'll tell myself I'm a physical therapist by trade, and
Yeah.
never really even gave the pitch count stuff a look. You know what I mean? So then
Hmm.
the other day I finally get on like MLB.com or whatever and look at the pitches. And I've got a friend we call the knower of things. He can dig all the stats out.
Cool.
He's like, yeah, man, Sam's like pushing 800 pitches for since the fall. And I was
Yeah.
like, oof, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and then the
You know,
tournament
but
is
here I'm gonna say this because I was a kid. Just because it's organized, it's frowned upon sometimes. You know, just because people are actually counting it, it's frowned upon sometimes. When I was a kid, man, we were outside playing baseball, throwing balls nonstop.
yeah,
You know, we were firing rocks into the ocean here. You know, we were consistently using our arms. So I think that's something that people forget is that, you know, back in the day, you know, it wasn't a sanctioned tournament, so everybody can see it on social media. But shoot, we were throwing everything we get our hands on 24/7 as kids playing baseball. You know, you watch The Sandlot. All those kids do is play baseball and throw.
yeah. And so I'm
Right?
just trying to at this point in time, because the other thing that weighs on my mind is, if he's not pitching, he's usually catching or something. So every
Mm-hmm.
time he's returning the ball,
Yep,
he's technically throwing.
for sure.
And they get to the size where they're strong enough to return the ball from their knees. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a little bit extra velocity, more than likely, than
Mm-hmm.
when you're standing up. You know what I mean? So I get a little bit, think about that a lot. Just because like I don't me being not being able to say no, I don't want it to be the reason that he isn't able to pursue and fulfill dreams. You know what I mean? So especially like that'd be some shit. A physical therapist's own son gets Tommy Johns or some shit. You know what I mean? So
Like
that's
calm
like
out.
my
Yeah, no, I get it, but it's it's kind of one of those things where it could be like, you know, the landscaper's house is the one that the garden needs the most work in a sense. You're really focused on other people, and you know, it's but and also it's hard to say no when you see someone really enjoying something like that, you know, and it's a game and it's a sport. But I think you know, based on our conversations yesterday, I can really feel like you're in a place where you're like, okay, we got to really have a look here at what we're doing. We got to be a little bit more selective, and I think that was based on the guest play more than anything.
yeah. So to be honest with you, and talking to my wife, it's like I've never really considered potential like psychological ramifications. Like there's physical ramifications, but also psychological, right? You know what I mean? So, and what I mean is, Sam going to the PG, you know, majors World Series, showing up and he's playing Florida, he's playing Texas, he's playing Georgia. A lot of them are, you know, class of 2029, Sam's 2030. You're talking, 5'1" and 115 pounds versus, the nines, 5'9", 10, 170. And so Um, and part of it was, the team that he was guest playing, and the team he was playing with elected to, as far as the pitching rotation, the hardest team that they played, they throw him on the bump. You know what I mean? So he jumps
Mhm.
on the bump with you know, he already inherits an 8-0 lead, and then these guys just tee off on him.
Yeah.
His little 62-mile-an-hour fastball. Even though he can locate it from time to time, and he's got a pretty
Mhm.
nasty curveball. Um, they just went to town on him, man, and like he only
Mhm.
ended up pitching like a 1.1 innings, and the game was over in 45 minutes, 17-1 loss. So, but that's the stuff that's like, man, like me saying yes to this guest playing, like, does that have long-term ramifications? Because this kid just got beat up,
Mhm.
like.
Mhm.
But luckily, like, I honestly think Sam's probably more resilient mentally than I am, or easily, better able to forget stuff. You know what I mean? Because he was excited to get home and turn around and go to practice with his usual team. So
Yeah, I think you're bang on. It's kind of the you remember that movie Up, where the dog sees a squirrel in a sense too, right? It's just like squirrel. It's something new. It's like, okay, I got practice. Sweet, I got practice. You could take Sam Bowling, he'd be fired up, right? It's it's
yeah,
I
he's
remember I remember playing with kids. It was even back in the day. It was emotional. They'd strike out. You see a lot of crying on TV in the Little League World Series, and it can be emotional. And I don't think you're wrong with that. But I just want to keep talking about this guest playing because it's something that's kind of new to me. Learning about up here. Up here in Canada, we do things a lot different with high school baseball and summer
yeah.
ball.
Yeah, the travel ball world's interesting. It's like, you see
Yeah,
all these skits on Instagram all the time, and it's like, yeah, we need you to. How about you come guest play? And then the parents like, sure. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, it's in Atlanta, and it's going to be 4 or 5 days long, and it's going to cost you
totally.
12. Like, you don't have to pay for the team, the tournament entry fee, but you're on the hook for everything else. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, you got to
that's
get there and do all
that's
that.
that's the kind of joke. But anyway, I make light of it. But sure, man,
Well, but
shoot.
it's real. I mean, it's real for a lot of people. It's real for a lot of kids, and um, as you, I guess, kind of you're in it, but you're kind of getting a little bit more into it. With the guest play, um, what are your thoughts moving forward? Like, how would you approach this moving forward? With him being asked, or would you be
Yeah.
more selective? Would you what?
Yeah, so on average, his typical team only plays every other weekend, and really the
Mm-hmm.
reason behind that, one of them is the guy that kind of has ownership and manages the team. His son is a Division I pitcher, and so
Mm-hmm.
he's been through it. You know what I mean, like through that journey, and and he knows that they need downtime. They need other things to be into to help sustain them. Right. And then, of course, he likes, if Luke is pitching somewhere, and, he likes to be able to travel and see him. Right. So
Sure,
the fella,
sure.
the fellas, he's up now playing for the Brewster Whitecaps in the Cape League.
Cool.
So,
I got
so
a I got a I got a Cape coach coming on today.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, Luke Schmokey, he played for, I think he was the ACC freshman, of the year pitcher for Georgia Tech,
Mhm.
and then they made some coaching changes and things weren't jiving, and he hit the portal and was picked up by Wake Forest. Um,
Beautiful.
but then he got there a little bit too late, maybe transferring too late in the year. So
Mhm.
he's essentially, I think he was redshirted, and then
Mhm.
the Cape League is finally getting some live pitching and preparation for hopefully
Amazing.
working for a starting spot next year. But that's the plan moving forward, is to try to stick to the script, of every other weekend. You know,
Yeah.
if our season starts late, there's some pickup teams Sam can play for just to kind of knock the rust off. That's
Mhm.
fine. But as far as like guest playing, it's going to have to be a pretty cool tournament or an opportunity for us to kind of say yeah at this point in time, just because man, I don't think Sam's had a weekend off since April,
Yeah,
so we just
and
been
that's
grinding. We just been grinding. He loves playing,
yeah.
but at the same time, like he needs a little bit of downtime too. So
Well, I think more than anything too at this age, it's not even the playing. You could go and play at your local field, like I said, and play. Like kids play. Kids play. Let the kids play. It's the organization. It's everything that comes with it. It's the finance. It's the travel. It's the work. It's the missing work.
yeah,
It's everything that comes with it that to me it's like holy cow, this starts early, and again, trust me, kids, go play stickball, go play wiffle ball, go play baseball every day. It's awesome. I love it.
yeah, yeah.
But the
And I'm hoping,
organization of it blows me away.
yeah. And then in the fall, I'm hoping to, I don't know, try to get Sam into a little bit of something else, and like just keep working on him. Hey, man, go play flag
Yeah, we talked
football
about
or
flag football. I love
do
that.
something. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, like my favorite meme Instagram video right now is it'll have a caption at the top is like the last time you had a weekend off, and it's the old lady from um, Titanic, and she's like, "It's been 84 years." Yeah, that's what it feels like. So we
I
got
bet. I bet.
one more this weekend. Sam's team's going to dip their toe into. They're going to go up to 13U and play on the big field,
Oh
and
man.
hopefully invite some kids that were at tryouts, and then
Mm-hmm.
they were done for a little while. So
What do you so obviously Sam loves to play, and I talk to Sam. We don't talk about recruiting. He's really young, and I know, maybe a certain kid is being followed, or a college coach hears about a kid like, wow, look at that. But do you feel a need to keep up with the Joneses?
um,
In a
no,
sense of
I
like,
think
hey, we gotta be at this tournament. We need to be doing this. We need to be doing
no,
that.
no,
No.
like at this point in time, like I think I believe he's got potential. Um, and I would rather, you know, sometimes take time to train and make
Hmm.
him bigger, stronger, faster than be at some tournament, you know what I mean? Like, and things of that nature.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
um, there are times where it's like the jealousy bug kind of because, we follow a lot of folks on Instagram and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
they're, off here playing, for certain teams and teams that Sam wouldn't even be considered for, even though
Hmm.
he's probably technically a better catcher than some of these kids, but he's
Hmm.
not in that size league.
Yeah.
I assume because you show up some of these teams, these kids already have mustaches and stuff of that nature. They might have dropped their kids off at the daycare on their way over to the game. I don't know. That's just me being so. People can leave their hate in the comments. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
um,
Leave them there. Leave them there. I
it'll
love
spin
it.
up your video. But it's a typical like kind of jealous dad thing. But he'll get there. So, but if he's got
Well, that's
potential,
that's that's what I was talking about yesterday with social currency. It's that
and
it's that.
what is social currency?
Yeah. Yeah. I talk about social currency being, like you'll see a lot of kids sign letters of intent to just schools that they probably shouldn't be going to, just to do it, just to have it on their social media, just for parents to be like, my kid's
Yeah,
going to
I mean,
college, my kid's going here.
I can't help to think that somebody's not watching Sam in the background. Like some of his videos are shared 1,000 times. Like when you look at the little
Oh
arrow
yeah,
button, is like I can't help to think that like just one of them is like, hey, check this dude out and keep him. You know
they
what I mean?
call those. I have a friend in the Cayman Islands, and he's a marketing guru and like a digital marketing guru. They call those unicorn posts, where they have more shares than likes.
Yeah, yeah. So like,
Right.
I'm not worried about all that. My main goal at this point in time is to help him develop, fulfill his dream, not have him hate the game, and I don't want any cats in the cradle and a silver spoon type of stuff, like towards the end. You know what I mean? Like
No.
I want to try to do it the best we can I want to try to get financially prepared to where we can, chase him around and we can watch him play and just enjoy things.
It's
And if I got to
it's
go back to
fun.
work after that, I'll go back to work. You know what I mean? But
It's fun though, isn't it? Like I know my parents, they're lifelong friends are friends from when I was 12, 13 years old playing
yeah,
together.
so,
You meet some really neat people.
and then, yeah, so you're just trying to navigate everything. That's why we pay you the big bucks, man. Just like, cause we don't know, I don't know the process, like, and he's getting ready to, you know, who knows, on the really extreme side, let's say this kid takes off and he, uh, ends up getting drafted out of high school. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
you're telling me he's got 4 to 5 years to get his shit together. And,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't even know, like, when they get drafted, like, what do parents do? Like, do these kids go off on their own? Do they live with so like, oh, so I'm just trying to get as prepared as possible. Just, you just never know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And
Well,
have
this
him
is,
as
this is why what I do is such a long-term process. It's not, I know there's a lot of coaches out there who are like, hey, join my 2-week masterclass program or my 4-month this program. And it's like, you really need to develop a relationship with somebody and start to get them through, because when you talk about things like the draft or, starting to pick a school and, talking about college and all that, it's a maze. And that's why I keep calling it a maze. It's the matrix of it all is
yeah,
hard to. It can be difficult. It's not so much always difficult to get through. It's just it's an emotional toll on the family, and uh, making decisions with emotion is a hard thing to do. When you don't
yeah,
have your analytics in front of you, be like you emotionally making a decision on someone's hamstring, like,
yeah.
oh, no, you just do what you do, right? There's systems in place, there's boxes to check.
Yeah, and so it can go for me, Sam, working with you can go anything from the day to day process, which I like, you know what I mean? Like first thing
Hmm.
Curtis did when he met Sam was like, okay, let's get you on a Google Calendar and let's get your days kind of mapped out and start to
Hmm.
take some ownership of your days. And then it's, the anything from in game stuff like, hitting approach and things of that nature, so
Hmm.
and what are you doing if you're kind of in a little lull and things, and how do we just kind of keep grinding until we get out of it, or things of that nature. And
The hard part I find sometimes working with kids, when they really get to know me and what I've done and who I've, where I played and I see this with a lot of kids, and I can see it in Sam a little bit, is they don't want to say the wrong thing. They think, they want to kind of try to impress you a little bit.
yeah, so like
And
I like how many times have I texted you and be like, don't let him snow you, like it
totally.
wasn't like he didn't have a very like, don't let him say give him a typical good answer, because it
I
wasn't a
know.
very,
I
he
know.
had a rough game, what I mean, he went over and he was,
Yeah.
you know sniffling in his catching helmet like the next
Yeah.
inning, like
Yeah.
receiving
Yeah.
balls, because his at bats
But I
weren't
think
very good.
that's pretty normal, especially boys are at that age where they want to carry the load. They want to be the guy. They don't want to show that emotion. They
Yeah,
want to be like what they see on TV. When in reality, those professionals have a team around them that they're communicating with, and
yeah. So
it does take time. It does take time to pull that out. I'm working with a few kids right now where I gotta call bullshit on them. I'm like, "How was your weekend?" They're like, "Oh, it was pretty good." I'm like, "Bullshit, it was, man. Like,
yeah,
come on,
yeah,
talk to me here. Like, what are you feeling?"
yeah. And
You know?
I've got about 10 more minutes just to
Yeah, yeah,
let you know.
yeah.
And but the big thing is like um I like working with you because this is all uncharted territory for me. You know what I mean? So like
Mhm.
your typical athlete, like they strike out, and kids at this age, and maybe they're crying a little bit and all this stuff. And what's your typical parent, us included, is like, Sam, dry that shit up. Like you got stuff to, I mean, you got work to do. You know what I mean? Like, you know, be a professional, get to work. You know what I mean? And that's like, and then you sit there and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. or there's a better way of doing it. And so that's the stuff that I really need to learn.
Well, and that's,
You know,
I'll kind of lay it out here a simple way for everybody in a sense. And I've learned this, I have a 15-year-old, well, she's almost 16-year-old daughter, plays high level soccer, and she's a goalie, and I was a goalie. I had the chance to go to college as a soccer goalie or a baseball catcher. That was my choice at a high school, and I chose baseball. But her growing up, goalie, I stopped coaching at a certain level, and then she'd have a game, and then she'd sit in the car, and I'd start going over like, hey, your angle was off here, your feet weren't moving, you're drifting with the play, and she knows this shit. She knows this stuff. I learned real fast that I needed to just be like, hey, buddy, you want to go? Let's go Starbucks. Good game. What do you want to do now? And just let them sit in it a little bit. And so what I do now with a lot of athletes, and what we'll start doing, with Sam as well, is I call it the well, better, how right after the game. You don't get a chance to really sit in your joy or your sadness for too long. You got to put that stuff on paper. What did I do well today? What can I do better? How am I going to do it? Okay, I've got that out. And it's important to get that out real quick, I find. And what that does is it takes the onus off the parents a little bit, because what it can be is a communication. You do it in the car on the way home. Okay, what did you do? And you let them do it. They have their little pad of paper. It's like, okay, what did I do well? I did this well. I did this well. And then we start with the well because it's starting with a positive, right? And they verbalize this to you as you drive, and you'd be like, yeah, that was awesome. That was sweet. I like that play. Even if they were 0 for 4 with 3 errors, they found a couple things they did well. I was a good teammate. I tied my shoes properly. Whatever we got to find that they did well, we find something. What could I do better? Not what did I do bad? What could I do better? Okay, I could be a little bit more aggressive in my approach at the plate. I need to start making contact out front. I was a little passive today. I was tired or this or that. How am I going to do it? Okay, I got to do this, this, and this. Okay, cool. I'll put that in my schedule. And that's the importance of having that calendar daily to look at, is like, that's where you work on your well, better, how. And that's something I think we'll start implementing it soon. Right now he's young, he's a kid. He does pretty good. He takes care of his business, but that's why I kind of wanted to do this conversation this morning, was based on that comment yesterday. It's like, man, I don't know if what I'm saying is right or wrong or anything. And I mean, you are like every single parent, because unless you've really been there, which majority haven't, it's hard to know. And you revert to, you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. So your emotions can get the better of you when you want the best for your child. So you're thinking, all right, I gotta be Nick Saban today, in the car, or I gotta be, Mr. Rogers in the car. You're always trying to be something other than what they just need. And a quote I live by as a parent, a sports parent, is, be the parent my child needs, not the parent I think my child needs. And I think that's something I look back on from my dad, when he really is quite stoic. He didn't really say a lot. He said a lot pregame. He got me fired up. He would say the right things, to talk about the game. But after the game is over, and I learned that, I was pretty good at leaving stuff on the field. And, I think the well, better, how is a good way to do it, and a good way to take what you just did. And now, okay, let's go work on something. So that's going to be something that we work on. I know you only got 5 minutes here. I wanted to quickly ask you, how's Jenny doing through all this?
Oh,
this new baseball stuff.
I don't know. She's just, kind of baseball momming it, and, and then she has to flip. Tough thing is, flipping back and forth, or really kind of, she's almost on the hook for work 24/7. You know what I mean? So, but she's ready for a break as well. Just wants some downtime and things. A lot of times on the weekends we're up earlier to travel for baseball than we are to go to work.
Oh, for sure.
So that's one of the things will enjoy the most is just having a little bit of time. So, but I think she does a really great job of organizing and being present for Sam and getting to everything and getting off of work a little bit earlier to get him to practice in Charlotte. It's 45 minutes away and things. So, but it takes travel baseball along with work on top takes its toll, and I think she's ready for a little bit of a break.
It's no joke, it's no joke what you guys are doing right now, and what a lot of families are doing right now. It's no joke. And it's not all to get to the next level. A big part of it is to get to the next level. A lot of it is because it's awesome. It's just awesome. Baseball is awesome. Being part of these teams is awesome. Being part of something like this, wearing the gear, going to these places, it's so cool. And to be able to do that is something that, Sam will remember, you guys will remember forever and ever. And through this process, something really cool is happening, and I don't think a lot of kids are going to get that opportunity because, it's real hard as well. So I commend you guys for what you're doing, and you guys are doing it a very humble way, when there's a lot of parents out there who are not, in a sense. What was the last thing I was going to? Oh yeah, the coolest part about all this is your decision. I think you told me you're going to send him to the beach after next weekend. Just be like, okay, here, go to the beach. You can give him a little bit of a break. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's gonna. Family member has a place at a campground right near Myrtle Beach, so let him go
Nice.
do all the. You just kind of take 4 or 5 days, forget about baseball, and
Mm-hmm.
let him go do all the water slides and the beach and the putt-putts and whatever else they
Perfect.
have to offer. Just ride around on golf carts, watch fireworks.
He'll probably
And
throw rocks. He'll probably be playing catch. He'll probably be just using his arm.
yeah,
That's what kids do. I have to tie that thing to his head.
that's right.
Uh, do you are you pretty active on the social media? Like, if people reach out and ask you questions or DM you, etc.
Yeah, there's you talking on Sam's account?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a fair amount of DMs that come in, and then there's this whole like hidden like Instagram hides stuff from you that they think is maybe malicious and stuff. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
some decent, like decent comments, or questions fall into that. So I always have to look there.
Okay. Okay. Well, I
But
just want to say, if anybody's listening and wants to ask you a question about how you're doing stuff, or certain places you're going, or things like that, I hope
yeah.
they
So
can
there's
reach out to you.
lots of folks that reach out and say, hey, this kid's inspirational. Love what you're doing with them and
Mm-hmm.
things,
Mm-hmm.
or if folks can reach out if they have questions, Like I said, it's
Cool.
the_Sam_O_project.
A lot
But
of underscores.
lots of underscores.
Yeah,
So,
I'll put it all in the show notes. But Matt, thanks a lot for coming on, dude. I really appreciate it. I know it was
yeah,
kind of
man.
you're probably like, what? Why does he want me on the podcast
No,
tomorrow? I tried to get you on
I thought
yesterday.
we go for a session number 2 at some point in time. I thought
Mm-hmm.
glad we didn't get into all the the baseball parent thoughts in their head and having to have a filter and not letting them out or and things of that nature.
We'll
So,
ease
but
we'll ease into this, man. We'll ease into
but
this because I don't think I think this is going to be popular. I think these are the conversations we need to have,
yeah.
and these are the things people want to hear.
I will say it's if you're a parent out there and you got those thoughts in your head, you're totally normal. You're right there with me.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the reason I surround myself with Curtis is you kind of figure out how to temper, how to filter, and produce a product that comes out that isn't gonna, like I said, put you in that "Cats in the Cradle" and the Silver Spoon song. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
absolutely, man. Okay, get to work, Matt. Appreciate you. I'm just going to ask you to just stay on for 1 second after I
sure,
stop
man.
the recording, okay? Okay.
No problem.